After many years of waiting, fall starts, and a lot of "is this project even alive" moments, RuneScape's player avatar refresh project is actually coming to the game. With the first batch of updates coming in spring, I figured there is no better time than now to revisit the history of the player avatar and the player avatar refresh project, and how this update can very well be the most impactful thing to the future of RuneScape. This all started in 2001 with RuneScape Classic. Your character was a 2D sprite, simple, flat, and not terrible for a web browser MMO at this time. You could customize your hair, gender, torso, and legs. That was really about it at the time. Just very simplistic stuff, enough to give your character just enough identity. Then, in 2004, RuneScape 2 dropped, which most of you probably know as the foundation for old school RuneScape. This was a huge upgrade, going from a 2D sprite upwards to a 3D character. Suddenly, your character had actual depth to them. With the launch of this update, you could customize things like your hair, facial hair, body type, torso, sleeves, bottoms, shoes, and wristwear. This brought a lot more player expression and a lot more identity for players. Fast forward to 2008, and RuneScape gets a huge HD upgrade. This brought a lot more polygons, textures, more clothing options, pushing the characters into that modern direction for the time in 2008. It wasn't a full overhaul, but it was definitely a meaningful step forward. Then, we arrived to the current day with RuneScape 3. Trying to find when this current iteration of the player avatar was brought into fruition is kind of hard to really nail down. There isn't much that's said within the wiki or kind of throughout RuneScape's history. It just kind of dropped. A lot of people kind of theorize it kind of just came in 2013 when they had announced RuneScape 3. So we're just going to say that's when it came in. This, of course, just brought a lot more clothing options with your boots and just a kind of different type of stuff you can allow your character to wear as your base clothing. But, of course, like all things, it started to show its age. And now we'll talk about the player avatar refresh project. This story really kicks off in 2020 in Mod Warden's Windtumber letter. In here, Jagex officially announces the introduction of the player avatar refresh project. The core mission, modernize RuneScape 3's player models as part of a broader push to bring the rest of the game up to a current standard. Rightfully, this got people excited. Heading into 2021, we started getting live streams, progress updates, player feedback sessions, and then finally, they showed us concept art. I mean, just look at these guys. Absolute units. And of course, there was more player feedback sessions that ended up altering them just a little bit more into the final product that we're going to be eventually getting here soon. And for a moment, it felt like RuneScape 3 was pushing itself into that modern standard. And then reality hit. In September 2021, Jagex announced the project was a lot more complex than expected. Technical challenges had arisen, and then in November 2021, art director and project lead Mod Iro left Jagex entirely. This was not only a gut punch to the project, but also members of the community. This was then followed up in June 2022 when Mod MIC or Mod Mike announced that the project had been delayed. And then after that, silence. For the rest of 2022, we received no updates, no timelines, just nothing. Finally, in January 2023, Mod Huli officially announced that the project had been shelved, leaving our chat avatars in cryostasis. Or so we thought, because in June 2025, something unexpected happened. Mod Huli and Mod Ryan announced that the player avatar refresh project was back in active development. The reason? Major improvements to the game's engine had finally made the project viable again. During a live stream, they revisited some of the old concept art that came from the days when they were showcasing the original project. They also pointed to a 2025 player survey and years of social media comments of players just asking for this to come back. And that brings us to the year 2026, the 25th year of RuneScape. Here's what we know that we can be expecting. Jagex has confirmed that the first batch of these updates are going to be coming in sometime spring. This first update is to pretty much just lay out the foundations of the player avatar. We should be getting a new base avatar, new hairstyles, new facial hair options, and newly updated base clothing. They're also using this update to improve the chat heads and chat head animations, which have definitely been needing some love. from the last few years. Like I said, this is just a start. Throughout this year and after part 1, this is going to be a multi-update rollout. We should be seeing the final batch of updates come in sometime autumn of this year. And of course, leading up to the player avatar refresh part 1, they're going to be looking for player feedback. So definitely keep your eye out for a survey. They're going to be asking for which items, cosmetics, and even NPCs should be updated. They've already kind of started some of this work, if you've noticed, with some of the skilling outfits on refreshing those. So keep looking out for those feedback surveys. Also, throughout this update, they're going to be making improvements to the game's lighting engine, making sure that the newer outfits don't really clash too much with the older textures within the game. Originally, while putting this video together, something really stood out to me. A lot of the concept art that we're seeing looks very similar to a recent Jagex release, RuneScape Dragon Wilds. And honestly, I am a huge fan of the art style from Dragon Wilds, so seeing it kind of directly translate into RuneScape just gets me unbelievably hype on how this player avatar is going to end up looking by the end of the year. You couple the player avatar refresh with the recently removed treasure hunter keys, and it starts to feel like RuneScape is heading in the right direction. Of course, leading up to now, they have done a lot of updates. Talking about combat, just so much sticking to the actual path that they've laid out with the road to restoration. This all being said, of course, we have to remember the history of this project. So try to keep just a little bit of a cautious optimism when approaching this. So far with the updates that they have rolled out, it looks like they have their ducks in a row and they're actually looking on delivering on the road to restoration. And like I stated earlier in the video, they are going to be looking for player feedback. So try to keep it as constructive and positive as you can. Don't just say, I don't like this scarf because it's blue. Actually try to give something meaningful feedback, because like they've been doing over the past now 2 years, they really want us to help shape this game in a positive and in the right direction. Anyway, that's the history of the player avatar and the player avatar refresh project. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Also, let me know if there's anything specifically that you're hyped about the player avatar refresh. Could it be the new models, new facial hair, or even the potential of the new outfits? As always, thank you so much for watching. I will have all the links that I used to put this video together down in the description in case you want to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into some of this stuff. Other than that, have fun, be safe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.